What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Only Football Podcast. My name is Kyle. Today, we're going to be talking about Caleb. Wow. I need to turn my mic down one second. Today, I'm going to be talking a little bit about a guy that most teams have been wanting to tank to get him. And you know how we are. I'm not even talking about the media. I'm just talking about people. We're always ready to find the next great thing, right? We discovered a rare jewel in the NFL named Patrick Mahomes, right? Now, when somebody comes around maybe once every 25 years, if Patrick Mahomes, if when it's all said and done, if he is considered the greatest of all time, then then apparently only one comes around every over 100 years, over a century. So the idea that we would often try to compare people to um, just statistically probably not them, right? We're talking about Caleb Williams from USC, labeled the next Patrick Mahomes. And I'll tell you why. It's because Caleb Williams has good arm talent. He can throw a snake eyes pass. He runs around. He plays backyard football. So when people are comping, right, comparing, they are basically for draft purposes saying, hey, this guy has a lot of the same characteristics as this guy. And for Caleb Williams, it's been Patrick Mahomes. And that is an enormous amount of pressure, but it's also great company. And it's why we have all believed that Caleb Williams will be the number one overall pick in next year's draft. If CJ Stroud or Bryce Young don't pan out, that would probably be a very disappointing thing for the Panthers if somehow Caleb Williams was to become Mahomes-esque, okay? But DJ just did I guess what do you call it? An eval of the quarterbacks coming out of college. So an evaluation, and Caleb Williams, of course, was on that list. You're getting people preparing for your way too early draft projections, okay? First off, Caleb Williams looks very similar to Dak Prescott. I'm looking at a picture right now, at least with a helmet on. I do not have a picture of him without his helmet on. But I'm going to read to you what was written about Caleb Williams after he was evaluated. USC quarterback Caleb Williams is one of the most buzzed prospects of the past decade, and it's easy to see why. After bursting onto the scene at Oklahoma as a true freshman in 2021, he followed head coach Lincoln Riley to USC last season and was the top player in the country, leading the Trojans to an 11-3 record, their best finish since 2017, and securing the Heisman Trophy. Williams set the single mark record for total offense, almost 5,000 yards passing, 4,919, and 52 touchdowns. That is very, very impressive. I know it's college, but come on, man. 52 touchdown passes. To put that into perspective, Peyton Manning threw 55 touchdowns the year that he broke the record. Tom Brady threw 50 the year he broke the record. And I believe before that, Manning had it at 49. Not exactly sure. So you got a college player that's thrown 52. If you're slinging over 50 tugs, I don't care what division you're in. If you're in Division 3, you should be in Division 2. If you're in Division 2, you should be in Division 1. If you're in Division 1, you should be in the NFL. Now, he will be in the NFL. Back to the article. It's a tough act to follow, and he'll be without his top receiver from last season, Jordan Addison, because he went to the Minnesota Vikings. But I can't wait to see what Williams can do with another year of experience in 2023. Now that I've had a chance to study the 3 of Williams' game tape from the 2022 season, along with every throw he made when USC was facing 3rd and 7 or longer, here's my initial scouting report. So to summarize, this was Daniel Jeremiah, who is an NFL analyst, and he's a former NFL scout. He, according to this, got 3 full game tapes. I would assume they were going to be some sort of back and forth endeavor instead of some blowout But who knows? It doesn't say what 3 games he picked, but he also had a stack of every 3rd and 7 or longer. I would have loved to know how many 3rd and 7s he was in. So after looking at all this tape downstairs in the lab like a mad scientist, this is what Jeremiah had to say. Height, weight, 6'1", 220 pounds. Those are school measurements. 2022 statistics. We have in 14 games played, 333 of 500. That's 66.6%. Getting spooky. For 4,537 yards. 42 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, 113 carries for 382 yards. I'm really confused right now because I thought that he threw 52 touchdown passes in 2022. Now it's saying 42 touchdowns. Maybe he was talking about his first year in Oklahoma as a true freshman. Wow, that's even more impressive. Wow, that is very, very impressive. I didn't even know this. I had no idea. For this whole time, I knew that I knew that Caleb Williams came from Oklahoma, but I didn't realize that he was so successful in Oklahoma. Okay, so this is actually kind of cool. I don't read these before I do these episodes because I don't want to have any pre knowledge of what is written. I want to keep it authentic. So my reactions are all authentic. But it does show here which game tape was watched, which is what I was just hoping that they would do. Real quick, I'm going to switch back over and check my comments. Good to go in the comment section. All right, so he watched the Washington State at UCLA game. It was a November game, and he watched every throw on plays of 3rd and 7 or more. What I liked, Williams' skill set is vast, and he showed off different elements of his game in every tape I studied. As a thrower, he's incredibly twitched up and can power the ball without grinding his cleats into the ground. He has tremendous upper body torque, and the ball jumps out of his hand. He's a master in the run play action, RPO game. His hands are lightning quick, and he can release the ball from different angles to navigate around the unblocked defender or defenders. He's at his best when he goes off the script, escapes, and makes plays. Most quarterbacks exhibit some level of panic versus free pass rushers, but Williams sees those moments as playmaking opportunities. He has the lower body strength to push through tackle attempts and deliver the ball accurately while climbing in the pocket or sprinting to the either side of the field. He's very elusive when he decides to tuck the ball and run, which is becoming more and more a crucial part of the quarterback position in today's NFL. He's a good decision maker on zone reads and has an explosive burst to pull away from defenders. Where he needs to improve. Williams takes unnecessary sacks at times. It's hard to blame him for not giving up on plays because he's so incredibly creative and productive in those situations. This is generally the Achilles heel of playmakers, right? However, there are examples when throwing the ball away is the best option at his disposal. He is a gifted passer on underneath touch throws, dive throws to all 3 levels, and deep throws over the top. The one throw that gives him some trouble is the layer throw. He can be too flat at times on throws where he needs to place the ball over the linebacker and under the safety. I think we'll see him improve in both areas with added reps. Biggest takeaway. Defenses utilize one of 2 strategies against Williams. They send exotic blitzes or they rush 3 and drop 8 into coverage. Williams can beat the blitz-happy approach with his ability to avoid and escape. There's nothing more demoralizing for a defense than executing a perfect blitz only to see Williams shake off the pass rusher and create a huge play down the field. When teams drop 8 defenders into coverage, he can retreat in the pocket, buy time, and fire deep crossers for chunk plays. There really isn't a right answer for how to shut down Williams in Riley's system. It's a joy to watch. And if that's the case, then I would secure Caleb Williams. I don't know if there was a doubt, but I would secure that number 1 spot overall, because if you're watching tape for a job, like your job is to find a person's weaknesses and you you can say with full confidence that there really isn't an answer to shut down Williams and Riley's system, I would feel pretty confident that USC is going to have another strong year. Now, this year, who knows what's going to happen? Do you think a national championship? They make the playoffs? We'll have to see. But let's stick to the NFL. So here we go to the reminds me of. This is the part that we opened with. Everybody's Mahomes, Mahomes, Mahomes. This is what the scout that spent more time with him than probably you or I had to say. He reminds me of Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, no, it says he reminds me dot dot. Patrick Mahomes is going to be the popular comparison for Williams. I can see it. They're both so creative. They deliver the ball accurately from different launch points and arm angles. However, from a style and skill set perspective, I think he has more in common with Josh Allen. Obviously, Allen is much taller at 6'5", but they are similar athletes as runners, and both guys aren't afraid to seek out contact. They possess elite arm strength to power outside shots versus cover two. They like to read plays top down, always hunting for the big opportunity. Also, they can take speed off the ball, showing touch on screens and quick hitters. Allen has solidified himself as a top three quarterback in the NFL, and I see that type of upside in Williams. So whether it's Mahomes or not, right? Josh Allen, if you could draft a player that you would know, without a doubt that they're going to become a top 5 NFL quarterback in the league, that's a grand slam. You can win a Super Bowl with that. As long as you have a top 5 quarterback on your roster, like Joe Burrow said, your Super Bowl window is that quarterback's career. So the expectations may not be much different, whether it's Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes we're comparing him to. The expectations are still that he's going to come in and set the league on fire next year. And it'll be really interesting because I don't remember, right? Let me give you a perspective of somebody that is not crazy involved in college football. Like, I love college football. Don't get me wrong. College football starts before the NFL season. I'm like all in all day. I love watching college football. But I'm not like involved in college football the way I am with the NFL. I don't read enough. Like I dedicate most of my time to the NFL. I don't do that with college football. So what I perceive a player to be is just basically a lot of what I'm hearing out on the streets or what ESPN is saying, right? I don't really do any like deep dives or anything like that. But I will say that was my disclaimer to say this. I don't remember the I don't want to say the last player to have as much hype as Caleb Williams, because I think that would be Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence definitely were like, nearly undefeated in their whole college careers. So there was definitely a lot of hype. But I think when I don't remember anybody saying Trevor Lawrence or Joe Burrow was going to be like this guy, right? Um, but I am like, I want to say Caleb Williams' style of football, right? The no look passes. It's almost like he is firing his base up, right? His fan base is getting fired up. His stock is going up. Like, Caleb Williams is at a point right now where there is like, I don't know who his PR dude is, but the hype around Caleb Williams feels a little different than all these other quarterbacks to me, right? I'm hearing people that aren't even that into college football talking about Caleb Williams. I mean, these are people that watch a little football, like they know who Patrick Mahomes is, but for the most part, I just don't. I think it's just the style of play is so exciting that it's kind of translating. I mean, my mom doesn't really watch football like that, but if you give her a good storyline or you give her a fun player, she'll put the game on, and I think that's what Caleb Williams is for a lot of people. It is just a form of entertainment, even beyond the incredibly entertaining game of football. So we'll see what he becomes. I'm excited. I'm rooting for him. I hope it's not an AFC team that drafts him. Like, we really need to start putting some of that QB weight into the NFC. It's just ridiculous at this point. It's it's just I guess it's a good problem to have, right? Makes for a lot of good football games, but gosh, we are loaded right now. Bill is in the chat, by the way. He said he was watching the new quarterback series on Netflix, but pause it to switch over here. Thanks for doing that, Bill. He said, yeah, college football is better than no football, but I don't know much about it. So yeah, you're just like me and probably a majority of other people. There's always been this kind of hidden debate. Are you an NFL guy or are you a college guy? College people say the same thing. They go, oh yeah, I don't like the NFL because once you pay them, they're not hungry anymore. So the whole thing is like when they're in college, they're still trying to earn a draft spot. They're still trying to put their mom in a house, whatever their motivation is. And I get that, but at the same time, you can't disrespect NFL like that. If you put like the best college football team together and played the worst NFL team together, and this is the debate that like if you're an NFL is better person that we always come back to, I don't even think the game would be close. And I guess it depends. There's some colleges that put like 7 players in the first round, maybe a team like that, but we're talking night and day, man. We got the best athletes alive. And if you ever want proof, look at how Reggie Bush dominated college football. And then look when he got to the NFL, he was not running around people. He was having to adjust. Cardinals, Kyler Murray had something to say that I thought was pretty, I guess, like we talked about it here. The Cardinals are in a really interesting spot. They believed in Kyler Murray. He showed them that he can be a star quarterback. And then last season, he made everybody, it's just like Russell Wilson, right? You just made everybody feel really terrible about the deal. And he ended up tearing his ACL. And now here he is coming back. And this year, I think, is going to be the most important year in his career, right? So the 25-year-old has spent the offseason rehabbing, and he spoke about the injury for the first time on an episode of Flight Plane. And that is a podcast. I'm going to have to check that one out. It's got to be a positive. There's really no option for it to be a negative, Murray said on the team's official website. I feel you get your little grace period right after it happens. Dwell on it, soak in it, let the feelings take over. After that, explicit, I don't know what cuss word to use. We got to go. Life doesn't stop. The job doesn't stop. And I'm not going to stop. Last offseason, the contract I was talking about was a 5-year, $230.5 million contract extension. After continuous negotiations in the aftermath of the deal, questions about Murray's study habits came into question with the so-called homework. I'm sure we all remember that clause that was in his deal, which eventually was removed, probably once the media found out. Murray and the Cards struggled through the early part of the season, getting off to a 3-6 start, with Murray having just 2 games above the 280 passing yard mark. Then injuries began to strike, first with a hamstring issue that forced him out 2 games, then the season-ending ACL tear. Entering his 5th season with a new coaching staff and front office, Murray said he believes he's wiser. This is important part. This is the important part of evolving as a man. If you've been a young man before, you understand that, even from 22 to 28, there is so much growth. There is so much. I mean, at 22, you feel like it's almost like we feel, at least for me, I felt like, I'm done growing, like maybe height wise. Um, I'm growing facial hair. I have armpit hair, whatever. There was a lot of like physical association with growth that I would be like, okay, I'm a grown up now because, I look like an adult. Well, that's not really how it goes. You grow a lot, emotionally, um, especially emotionally. And that's why I always think like when you give a rookie a 4-year contract, I think it's the perfect thing because you're giving them enough money where they can take care of their family, whatever they promised themselves that they would do once they got here, they're going to be able to fulfill whatever that is. Okay. But at the same time, they have to do usually like 4 years. So you're going from 22 to 26, 27. And I really do believe 27 is a good time to sign a $100 million contract. I would say it's much better than 21, 22. But, that's subjective. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. It's subjective. But we know that Kyler Murray didn't fulfill his rookie contract, that he wanted to get paid like one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. He wanted to be the highest paid. I don't know if that was ever said out of his mouth, but I believe at the time of his signing, he was the highest paid contract in the NFL, which to me just didn't feel right. I didn't feel like Kyler Murray was the best quarterback in the league, and I didn't think that he has done anything yet that deserved. I mean, look, if Joe Burrow can take his team to the Super Bowl and almost win it and go into the next season with the same contract, like you can too. And that's one of the reasons I have a lot of respect for Joe Burrow. Yeah, you signed a contract, bro. You got to do your contract. And in Murray's case, he ended up scrubbing the social media account, right? No more Cardinals on his Twitter, and he got paid. And now his first year of being paid, it was atrocious. The team was bad. Kyler was bad. He was hurt. You saw that thing that he only had, I think, one game over 270 yards. I mean, there was nothing good that came from this contract, and it handicapped the team moving forward to sign people. So, whose responsibility is it to fix this problem? It's Kyler Murray's, right? He put the team in the situation that they're in right now. And the only reason you pay a quarterback top dollar is because as long as that guy's on your team, he will make the people around good enough to at least have a shot at the Super Bowl every year. That's why you pay your quarterback top dollar, right? Now we haven't seen a top quarterback, the highest QB in the NFL. We haven't seen them win a Super Bowl in a long time. If you notice, there's a lot of teams that haven't paid their quarterback yet that are winning Super Bowls. Something to be said for that. But this is Kyler Murray's problem to fix. I truly believe that. And so this is what he said, and this is good news if you're a Cardinals fan. As far as growing from my rookie year till now, learning how to be one with your emotions, understanding how to talk to people. Some people are able to take the harsh way, and I'm naturally that way. Or do I need to give them a little love? And that's part of the quarterback position. And learning what I can do better, how I can be better, and how I can make the guys around me better. Swear to God, I didn't read this. This is great to hear, though. It's a team sport. We all have to be locked in. With new coach Jonathan Gannon at the helm and offensive coordinator Drew Petzing calling the offensive shots, Murray's ready to move on from last season. And I think we're going to learn a lot. Part of me felt, I don't know, uh, I feel like sometimes you can just feel like, there's something about this guy that I'm not totally sure about. You don't really know what it is, and maybe sometimes it can come off as judgmental because you really don't know a person. But I do believe like people give off certain energies or vibes, whatever you want to call it, where you can just feel like, man, like I don't feel good about this person. I always kind of felt a little mixed feelings about Cliff Kingsbury. Like I just watching him on Hard Knocks and stuff like that. Um, I I felt like he said the right things, but I felt like he was emotionally withdrawn as a coach. Right? Um, I feel like he thought early in the season last year that he was in over his head, and that's what it looked like to me. So I do want to consider that when we are discussing Kyler Murray having a bad year. And this will be a fun season to see. I mean, for all we know, this might work and Kyler Murray might be back to what he was when they decided to pay him. So back to here. This is what Murray said. I'm thinking of stuff that I wasn't part of, like the draft, who we are going to get, young players coming out. Murray said the whole last year was expletive. Um, it happened for a reason. The things we're doing weren't sustainable for success. It wasn't necessary, and a turn good will come out of what happened. The big question surrounding Murray is when, if at all, he'll be ready to play in 2023. The timing of his injury in mid December, so late season injury, unfortunately, especially in a season that you weren't making the playoffs by December. It makes it highly likely he'll miss the start of the campaign. Colt McCoy would be in line to start, and we know that Colt McCoy, he's been holding it down for a while. He's not like a starting quarterback, but this is a person that I see transitioning into coaching immediately when he decides to retire. When you're around the NFL, as long as he has, and you decide to be a sponge, and I mean, Kyler Murray was coached up by Colt McCoy. So he does lack, the talent of, the starting quarterbacks in the league right now. He's an older guy, but he's somebody that you can just plug, and he may get you if you got, a good football team and you got a good game plan. He could get you 500 by the time Murray comes back in, or maybe a game under 500. So I don't think they're doomed with Colt McCoy. So through 4 seasons, Murray authored some magical moments and jaw-dropping plays, but he knows to succeed once he returns from injury, he'll need to be more consistent to get Arizona back on track. He said, and I quote, "I think winning cures all, and it's been tough to do with some of the circumstances we've had to deal with," Murray said. "But I think we are headed in the right direction." Okay. And this is a really smart interview to have for Kyler Murray. One, it's great. It's great for the fans. I think that they need some sort of direction, right? They were having such a high in 2021, starting off 6-0, and then all of a sudden, the whole world came crashing down. And I feel like as a fan base, a lot of people are picking Arizona to have only like 3 or 4 wins, right? So I do think the fan base at this point, all they can be is pleasantly surprised if the Cardinals are good. If the Cardinals are not good, there's a chance that they're going to have an opportunity to draft Caleb Williams, and that's why I put these two stories together. I do believe that this is a little more connected than we think. If you guys remember when Josh Rosen was drafted in 2019, I believe, by the Arizona Cardinals. His rookie year, the Cardinals were so bad that they had the first overall pick in 2020. And with that pick, they decided to draft Kyler Murray. So they went with a high first round pick quarterback, and then they moved off of him immediately because Kyler Murray was just too exciting to pass, right? I mean, if you have a franchise quarterback and you're sure that he's a franchise quarterback and you're not sure if what you have now is a franchise quarterback, of course, you're going to go get the guy that's no shit at franchise quarterback and not keep, hoping that you develop one right here. What's odd about this whole thing is that the same scenario might be next year. Let's say that the Cardinals lose all of their football games, or not all of them, but the most football games out of the league. So they have the first overall pick, and they have Kyler Murray, and there's Caleb Williams. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think that the Cardinals are going to be like, yeah, no, because here's the thing. They don't even have to pay Caleb Williams because he'll be on a rookie deal. That's a way that they can escape, that contract. It's like, we're going to take Caleb Williams, put him on a cheap rookie deal, and whatever happens to you, happens to you. If we have to eat the money for the next 5 years, then that's what we'll do. We got, at this point, only 3 years left. And by that end of those 3 years, we'll pay Caleb Williams. So I'm just saying, what we've saw with Josh Rosen and Kyler Murray, it may be very possible that is going to history is going to repeat itself with Caleb Williams. And the last thing I'll say about that is, if I were Kyler Murray's agent, I would already start putting stuff like this into the media, because you're going to need to make yourself desirable. If Arizona is a failure this year and the Cardinals draft, if they draft Caleb Williams, then what are you going to do to make yourself desirable? Because all we know about you is the tantrums on the football field, the clause in your contract that you're going to have to study, When people think Kyler Murray, right? They don't think leader. They don't think quarterback. They don't think the 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 captain of my football team, right? So it's probably in his best interest to start saying that he is ready to become those things and that he is maturing and that he is growing, right? Because in 9 months, if the Cardinals have the first or maybe the 1 through 3 overall pick, Kyler Murray's going to need to find somebody that's willing to take a chance on him. So that was a little something that I decided to read. I'm going to go back to the chat now, and we got Bill in here in the chat. He said the Cardinals GM seems like one serious dude, though. Hosting for it. They released a behind the scenes draft video, and he looks intense. He ain't going to deal with Kyler, I'm thinking, and that's good because Kyler needs an alpha male to hold him down. He needs a Dan Campbell in his life. Check the contract. They really don't have an out. Very good to know. So they would have to eat that money. And then Bill said maybe not having an out until 2028 is why they have a new GM. LOL. We ended up in the same place. Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, so I do think that they're at some point connected, right? Let's go through one more thing. There are 60 semifinalists that have been named for 2022. These are the Hall of Fame classes. The Pro Football Hall of Fame announced 60 semifinalists for class of 2014. So I wanted to go through some of the names here and tell you if I think that they should get the nod or not. Not that my opinion matters at all, but let's pretend it does. All right. Man, I'm looking at the list right now. I ain't going to lie. I don't know who okay, here we go. Sterling Sharp, Shannon Sharp's brother. Okay. I think maybe, right? I'm going to have to learn a lot. Who are these people? I am not that. Oh, you know what it is? These are probably people that have been trying to get in every year for like the last 20 years. And that's why I don't recognize their name. But I'm going to go through in case our viewers do. Ken Anderson, Otis Anderson, Carl Banks, Maxie Bond, Larry Brown. I know who Larry Brown is. Mark Clayton. Mark Clayton. That sounds familiar. Oh, no, Clayton. I'm thinking of, I think, Michael Clayton, who was an ESPN anchor. Charlie Connerly, Roger Craig, Henry Ellard, Randy Gradishar, Lester Hayes, Chris Hinton, Cecil Isbell, Joe Jacoby, Billy White Shoes Johnson, Mike Ken, Bob Kuchenberg, George Coons, Albert Lewis, Jim Lewis, Clay Matthews Jr. So I believe that's just Clay Matthews, like the Green Bay Packers linebacker, Clay Matthews out of USC, I believe. Like long hair, Clay Matthews, but I'll verify that Clay Matthews is a junior. Steve McMichael, Eddie Meter, Stanley Morgan, Tommy Nobis, Art Powell, Sterling Sharp, Steve Tasker, Otis Taylor, Everson Walls, Al Wistert, KS Bud Adams Jr., Rune Arledge, C.O. Brockto, Tom Coughlin. There's your boy. There's your boy right there. Tom Coughlin, New York Giants. There you go, Bill. I know that's going to get a vote. Alex Gibbs, Ralph Hay, Mike Holmgren, longtime Green Bay Packers coach, then Seahawks as well. Frank Bucko Kilroy, Eddie Codell, Robert Kraft. That's the owner of the Patriots. Why do owners get? Did he play? I'm going to have to do some research. I might have my mind blown here in a little bit. Elmer Layden, Jerry McBurt, Virginia McCaskey, Rich McKay, John McVeigh, Art Modal, Buddy Parker, Carl Peterson, Dan Reeves. Know who Dan Reeves is? Art Rooney Jr., Marty Schottenheimer. So there's Art Rooney Jr. and there's Art Rooney. Oh, no, that's Art Model. Never mind. Jeremy Seaman, George Seifert, Mike Shanahan. He should absolutely be inducted in the Hall of Fame. He deserves to be alive for that. Clark Shaughnessy, Seymour Seawolf, Jim Tooney, Lloyd Wells, and John Wooten. Those are the people. Those are okay. That's a complete list of senior semifinalists. Senior. Okay, so that makes a lot more sense of why I didn't recognize those names as involved as I am, is because those are the senior semifinalists. So those guys been knocking on that door for quite a while now. The Tampa Bay Bucks are going to unveil a creamsicle uniform for 2023. If you're wondering what it looks like, think of the color of a creamsicle, that kind of orange color, and then with white pants. It almost looks like Tennessee orange. I think it is Tennessee orange. Maybe a little creamier than Tennessee orange, but it looks like Tennessee orange with red. So honestly, I like the orange. I kind of like Tennessee, but with the red, it's a little, I don't know. I don't think those colors go great together, but regardless, they are going to debut this jersey this year. The home uniforms feature a Florida orange jersey, white pants with red and white striping across the shoulders and down the side of the legs, which is also the styling of its orange sock. The white helmet dons the Buck original logo, Bucko Bruce, switch buckling pirate with a dagger clenched in his teeth. Did you guys, while we're on the topic, do you guys know the Steelers, right? I had this written down in my notes a while ago, and I totally forgot until I'm reading this. The Steelers were owned by a company that makes steel, and they put the logo. If you see the Steelers head, you know how it has red, white, and blue. Those little diamond things, those represent three elements: fire, water, and I'm forgetting the third one, but it's the three elements that are used to make steel. That's what those colors are. So the reason that the Steelers only have it on one side of their helmet was because when the Steelers bought the team, they didn't know if people were going to like the logo or not. So they only put it on one side of the helmet, and people ended up liking it, and they just kept it on one side of the helmet. But those colors, those diamond colors that are in the three colors that are in the Steelers helmet, those are the elements to make steel. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And I think I should probably take some time to learn about, the history of every team, because there's so many teams that I just wonder, like how did you become? What is a Brown? Cleveland Browns? I know I would imagine it's a dog because they have the dog pound, but Bill said the colors were cool: iron and steel, yellow, red, and blue. Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I had a buddy who's a big Steelers fan, and his name was Lance, and I always kind of rooted for him a little bit, but I went to his house for the AFC Championship game in 2005, and that was a bad idea because the Broncos lost and the Steelers won and went to the Super Bowl and then won against the Seahawks. And Bill said, "Thanks for making me look it up. The colors were cool: iron, steel, iron. That's what it is. Okay, iron and steel, yellow, red, and blue. Yellow, red, and blue. Okay." No, thanks for correcting me. I use my phone now as my camera, so it's kind of a funny thing that I put my notes in my phone and then I'm not accessing my notes during the podcast, but whatever. We're learning as we go. Brees Hall, the Jets offense, will have an answer for everything. Now, there is one thing that has not been published as far as the NFL websites. I would imagine Twitter has already made some announcements of its own. But if you guys haven't heard, I will be the one to release the news per some very credible sources that would not risk lying about this. The New York Jets will be the team selected for Hard Knocks this year. And we thought for a minute that it could be the Bears, right? Because you have to meet certain criteria. So, oh, cold, not cool. Thank you, Bill. But you have to meet certain criteria to be selected for Hard Knocks, and if you meet that criteria, you're not supposed to be allowed to say no. Well, the Jets, they meet that criteria, and the only other teams that met the criteria were the Bears, the Commanders. Those are the only ones that I know of. I think it was just those three. And I got to say, out of the Commanders, I know uh, Rick's not going to be super stoked that I'm saying this, but I'm not like wouldn't have been super stoked about the Bears, or I would have been cool with the Bears. Like I would have gotten into it, but the Jets is, I mean, usually the teams that are selected for Hard Knocks, because they have to be a team that missed the playoffs, and because the nature of the requirements, we've never seen like a team on Hard Knocks that's really like a legitimate Super Bowl contender. I'm not saying that the Jets are right now, but I'm saying that they feel like it would be a lot the feeling would be a lot different than like the Lions last year. So I like it personally. I think that it's going to be good TV. I think it, oh, the Saints were the fourth team. Okay. Thank you, Bill. The Saints would have been kind of cool, I guess, but I got to say the Jets are still like I think the best team to do it. And it'll be exciting, man, because what I really love about this is I think that a lot of people have a well, because the Packers never get selected for Hard Knocks because they were always competitive with Aaron Rodgers. Competitive enough not to be in that criteria. So this is really Aaron Rodgers' first chance to be on Hard Knocks, maybe first and only, whether he wanted it or not. From what I've heard from ex players, it gets to the point where you don't even notice that the cameras are in the room. HBO does a good job of making their presence not feel overly powerful, um, and not uploading videos that are like not good for the NFL, stuff like that. If a guy doesn't remember that, oh shit, I'm being recorded. Maybe I shouldn't have this conversation. HBO kind of handles all that. But Aaron Rodgers, his reputation with the media has always been a really bad one, um, especially after he took his stance that he didn't want to take the vaccine. Um, and you can have a problem with, the I'm immunized, whatever. I could understand people having a, problem with him being upfront about that. But it was really weird watching the way the media treated him before that and after that. And I really think it will be nice to see not good publicity, not bad publicity, but just an actual camera in the room so that the world can get to know Aaron Rodgers, because there are so many people that think they know him because they watch ESPN or they watch all the channels that are, paid to, dehumanize him because of his life choices. Those people are going to get an opportunity to see him. And if they don't like him because he's an asshole, they then don't like him, right? Like you watch for yourself, man. I don't like the way he treats those people. I don't like the way he's correcting the rookies. Like I'm not saying you have to like the guy, but you're going to be able to decide that for yourself. That's just one part of what I like about Aaron Rodgers being on Hard Knocks. The Jets, I think, are one of the most interesting teams of the year because they're one of those teams that the expectation is to win the Super Bowl for the Jets. But this whole thing could just not work out and they could end up winning 9 games. Like a lot of people don't realize Aaron Rodgers didn't have a single game last year that he threw for 300 passing yards, which means Like, it's not gonna just be plug and play. Like, Aaron Rodgers definitely, he lost the step last season, at least that's what it looked like. And you could say, "Well, no, I mean, he had to play with all these new rookies, he lost Devontae Adams." Well, he's with a bunch of new people now in New York, you know? And I think if the Russell Wilson thing taught us everything, we can agree that the NFL is a lot harder than just plug and play. I think it helps that he has Nathaniel Hackett. I do think it'll work, right? But I also think that they're probably the only team that could miss the playoffs, and it wouldn't be shocking. And they could go to the Super Bowl, and it wouldn't be shocking. So they are unique in that way, and I'm really glad to be able to see them close and up front for what I believe 6, 7 weeks it is until we roll right into the regular season. And Bill said the Jets did it before in 2010, and that was a really popular one with Rex Ryan. I think he mentioned something about snacks in that one. Um, but yeah, this will be a really fun. I think it's gonna get released sometime, probably really soon. But I'm it's July. Like, I feel like I remember watching Hard Knocks in July all these previous years. So how long is this gonna take? Like, are we gonna be in October and Hard Knocks is gonna be released? Like, I don't know. I really have no idea, how fast they can just push these episodes out, but I will say that they seem to be a little bit behind the curve. Um, so yeah, we'll just keep waiting for an official announcement on that. But Brees Hall said on the Jets offense, I think we have an answer for everything. And his exact quote was, "I mean, with the offense we have right now, I think we have an answer for everything. If you don't want to load the box, Aaron's going to get the ball off all day. If you do, we've got the RPOs and we've got him to take shots downfield, and we've got the receivers that are going to make plays for us. And if the offense is struggling, we have the backbones of our defense to rely on." So excited for that for sure. And I'm sure Rodgers is going to really appreciate having a good, solid defense. I thought the defense played really good last year, but even if you look at that 6 game win streak that Green Bay went on to put them in position to go to the playoffs, um, a lot of that had to do with the Green Bay Packers defense, right? There was a lot of defensive plays. We know that Alexander, Ajir Alexander, was having a year, right? That guy was going off. So I don't want to just be like, oh, he's never had a defense. He had a defense last year. I do think this will be a better defense. And when you look at the best defense that Aaron Rodgers ever had in 2010, he won the Super Bowl. So I think it's something. I don't know what it is, right? But there's something there. Um, with what Brees Hall is saying, like he's not lying. Like the Jets really do have answers for everything. They are, and to sum it into 2 words, they're a complete team. Okay, very complete. Hall himself is expected to play a key role in the offense after his promising rookie year was cut short by an ACL tear. And those ACLs, man, in the game of football, those ACLs go quick and often. It's so sad. Despite the lengthy rehab timeline for ACL injuries, Hall said he's planning to be available by week 1, backing up assertions from head coach Robert Saleh a month ago, who said things were going smoothly. And I believe he got hurt during the Denver Broncos game because I think he broke one off. Excuse me. I believe he broke one off for I think it was like a 60-yard run, and I think he got hurt in that game. So Brees Hall, right? Another piece to that team coming back, along with Garrett Wilson and McCole Hardman and Alan Lazard, and Randall Cobb and everybody else. And the last thing I wanted to share, because I love that my boy got some love. I want to make sure I find it. I want to make sure I find the exact. Okay. There was man, there was a I don't have my Facebook right now. There was a ranking that they just did with coaches, players, um, it was coaches, players, owners, and it pulls from all of it, kind of like the Pro Bowl voting does. And it was best cornerback, and Patrick Surtain actually hit the number one spot. And from what I'm seeing from like, I would say coaches or media, the coverage that he's getting, I believe that it's the players, right? The players, I've never heard a player like not say Surtain is elite, but because Denver's not really good, I could see like some coaches not picking him as the best. So I think it was his colleagues that pushed him through. Bill said we got the new turf in MetLife for the Jets too. You're right about the Jets though. The Patriots got used to beating up on them, and it's not going to go that way this year. Yeah. And the Patriots too, to think that the Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick, right? I mean, when they won their sixth Super Bowl, like you to think, okay, in 5 years from this moment, Bill Belichick will be on the hot seat would have been absurd, right? But but here's the problem, like, you got a at this point, you have a champagne taste on a beer budget. The Patriots are used to winning. They're used to winning every other year for the last 2 decades, and it hasn't been happening, right? And it's got a lot of people really uneasy, and one of the guys that couldn't have been any more safe is, I believe, playing for a job. Now, I think it would be one of those where Bill Belichick steps down. I don't think it would just be like a fire. There's just too much love there between Kraft and Belichick. But I do believe that if the Patriots are the worst team in their division this year, I would say Belichick has one more year. I don't think it would happen this year. I've interviewed a Patriot fan on this channel that does think it could happen that quick. I think that Belichick's probably earned one more year, but it just goes to show, man, this is a league of what have you done for me lately? It doesn't really matter what you were, what you did. It's always about winning and continuing to do that. And is Mac Jones their guy? Hopefully, we're going to find out with Bill O'Brien and a real offensive coordinator with Devontae Parker signing. That this team, though, if you had to pick any team, like I could make a case for all three of these teams. If you force me to make a case that they win the Super Bowl, I can do the Bills, I can do the Jets, and I can even do the Dolphins. You know how I feel about that top five offense now with Vic Fangio. But you hand me the Patriots, and I can't. So when you tell me, like, because me and Rick did our season predictions last year, and one of the reasons he had the Patriots, I believe number two, was because it's Bill Belichick. In Bill Belichick, we trust. Which, um, yeah, that's true and all, but I don't think Rick will be saying that this year. I think that we're both probably going to have the Patriots fourth in the division, and I do think that that trust in that Bill we trust is it's going away. It's going away pretty fast. Tyler Kitzman in the chat, champagne taste on a beer budget, Kyle. And Bill Belichick said, or Bill, that's so funny. Bill's first name is Bill, and then he wrote Belichick on his comment. Belichick leaves, they have to go outside. Joe Judge is there, and he is not a good head coach. Ran us into the ground for a year or two. Hey Tyler, how you been? Bill showing some hospitality to my brother Tyler. Happy to have you in here, man. To wrap up the ending of it, yeah, there's going to be a lot of things to be discovered this year with the Patriots. There's, I would say, even Chicago is kind of at a fork in the road, right? Like this is their year to take the division. They got the quarterback that they think is going to do that in Justin Fields, but then at the same time, the Packers, do they have their guy with Jordan Love? Um, I think depending on how the Patriot thing goes, if the Patriots are one of the worst teams in the league this year, and we talked about having with Caleb Williams having a really good quarterback draft class. The Patriots may be in position to secure one of the top quarterbacks in the league. But and I'll leave with this: the best teams really screw themselves, or the best coaches really screw themselves. Like Bill Belichick, no doubt, is a great coach. Now, what if he's such a great coach that he can take a team from 1 to 3 wins, a team that has the amount of talent that should equate to 1 through 4 wins, okay? But Bill Belichick's a great coach, so that goes to 7 or 8 wins, okay? You pull a couple wins out just from your coaching, your method, the Belichick way, whatever you want to call it. Well, now you've won. You've put yourself out of position to draft a quarterback. I'm not saying, tank. I do think that there has to be some sort of integrity that is protected, and I think tanking threatens all of it. But it is just something to note that when you have your team being ran well, you can easily go a decade getting the quarterback position wrong. Like Denver, they were never a one-win team, so we didn't get Trevor Lawrence or Joe Burrow or any of those guys, right? They kept getting Paxton Lynch and Trevor Siemian and all these guys late in the round. Like those guys, the ones that come every 10 years, those guys are going to be at picks 1 through 3 usually. So we'll see. I think the Patriots are kind of in a bad situation right now because they're not good enough to make it to the playoffs, and they're not bad enough to fix their problems. So Tyler said, "Congrats to Kyle for the medical retirement." Thank you, brother. And Bill said, "Try Rowan's Creek if you get the chance. $50 a bottle, but so good. It's not the everyday drinker, but good. Focus on the podcast." He's kind of not told everyone about the. Yeah, no, I didn't. Just because my partner, we wanted to keep it on the down low for a little bit. But there will come a day where we'll do it. He doesn't do. He also doesn't really do personal shit. Just showing love to the best person I know. Wow. I don't do personal shit. We are actually this is a great time to tell you guys I'm going to be gone in 3 weeks. I'm going to be in Wisconsin. My uncle's getting married, who I talked to today. We got into the conspiracies as we normally do, but we are going to be gone from August 1st through August 7th probably. So we're looking at 2 episodes that will be remote, which is cool with me. I love going on the road with you guys. But this time it's not California. And pretty soon it's going to be Denver, Jacksonville, Miami, Detroit, Chicago, Missouri, Denver, Buffalo, Ohio. And that's going to be a blast. And we're going to be doing it all together. So if you want to follow this channel, real quick, I figured out what I'm going to do. If you when you guys wake up in the morning, you usually watch some sort of wake up NFL where they're going to be talking about the games. DraftKings is going to have some stuff up. They're going to be talking about the games, whatever, right? Whatever your morning routine is, you grab your coffee, you watch you get hyped up for football. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to tell you guys which game I'm going to be going to on a Sunday, but every Sunday, 2 hours before kickoff, we're going to be going live from a NFL stadium at a game, and we're going to have our own morning show version that's going on. We're going to go over all the bets, the overs, the unders, the players, the games that matter the most. It's going to be a blast, and we're going to be interviewing live fans, so you'll just be sitting there watching this on your TV, but I'll be out there doing the dirty work for you guys. I'm going to go pull a Jaguar fan off the streets and ask him why he thinks, the AFC South is going to be the worst division of the year, whatever the case is, right? So it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be a lot of real people interaction, and with the season, and you know how people are in the tailgate, right? They're hyped up, they're ready to jump on a podcast and scream into the microphone about their team. So I think we're going to be able to put a lot of really fun content out there, and um, without compromising the Monday, Wednesday, Thursday episodes that will continue to push out through the regular season, as well as live streams of the game. So if you're new to the channel and you want to subscribe so you're a part of this journey, you can follow me on Twitter at FTBLONLYPODCAST, and my partner Rick at And Now Rick, ANDNOWRICK. Bill, thank you. Bill's been an OG this offseason. People don't really care about football during the offseason. They just don't. And I know that because I don't know anybody that loves football as much as me. And even I have days where I look at the NFL app and I'm like, hey, there ain't shit going on. And I can tell like we're fishing here for some stories. But like we're over the hump. Football season is right around the corner. In 3 weeks, preseason starts. Training camps already doing its thing in a couple. I think 1 week it changes for every team, but we're almost there. But I wanted to say personally to Bill and Tyler and Ginger's been watching these, and Liam and all of our core family members that are part of this channel. Thank you guys for tuning in, for commenting, to liking it, staying involved during the off season, because y'all are you guys know how it is during the off season, right? It would be easy for you guys to just not tune in or not comment. So I just wanted to make sure you guys know how much I appreciate you guys as we move in to bringing more people into the room, right? Like once we're doing stuff like that, I would imagine that our chat rooms and our comment section is going to be filling up with a lot more people. So I thought this would be a good time to have that personal moment with you guys. And Tyler says, let's go Knowles share. I'm actually going to the Florida State Florida game in Gainesville, and I'll tell you about that in a little bit. And I will see you guys tomorrow for another episode of Only Football. We're going to be breaking down division predictions, and I'm not going to tell you which conference, so you're just going to have to see us there, especially the NFC East for the New York Giants, Bill. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. See you.